All right. Okay. I know this is my channel and I get to say whatever I want to say, but can I just say that I hate New Year's resolutions? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Hey, Millie. I feel like a bad person on a movie petting my black cat on my lap. She's going to be totally distracting. Okay. Okay. Why do I hate New Year's resolutions? Well, let's just talk about how we've created, ouch, her claws are really sharp. We've created these cultural norms where summer is wonderfully busy, and then the season before Christmas is chaotically busy, and then school season is like all day long busy, and then January 1st comes and all of a sudden we want to reset our entire life, which sounds great. It comes with hope. Everyone's excited. Everyone's asking what's your New Year's resolution? What are you going to change about your life? But what's annoying is that by mid-February, then all of a sudden it's like all of our big goals and really good goals, those big life-changing things that if you could actually implement them, they would transform your life kind of goals. By mid-February, they become the punchline of a joke that we all get because we've all set some kind of New Year's resolution, or whether we have this year or we have in the past. And then by mid-February, by mid-January, we're probably not really on track. And then by mid-February, I know I've said that like 10 times now, but by mid-February, they become a joke and we all get it because we've all gone through this cycle of haha, tried again, tried and failed. That's why I really don't like them, because they don't work, they don't stick. So we're going to flip all of that on its head, because the goals themselves are great. And on this channel, you can watch this video and apply this to absolutely any goal. But on this channel, we talk specifically about your kingdom work, your calling, that thing that is on your heart to do for Jesus. And it's kind of well, if it just comes down to figuring out how to do it and what are the pieces that you need to your puzzle to do what you're called to do, then let's make it happen. And let's not wait for, sorry, kitty. Let's not wait for a New Year's resolution to come around. Because sometimes, we have this we wait for that one time of year and then we just try to start it off good, and then we typically don't. So let's flip that on its head and not wait until the new year for you to start doing something. What if you made your goal happen this year? And by this year, I mean 2025, in the 6 weeks you have left, unless you're watching this and it's December 1st, in which case you have 4 weeks. So whatever that time frame is, you can make something happen that can give you a huge head start in 2026. Okay, so currently it's November 13th. We're in the middle of November. By the time that this video goes out, it's going to be the middle of November exactly, pretty much. Anywho, that doesn't really matter. But anyway, we've got 6 weeks. It's the middle of November. And for most of us, that means put your head down, just plow through the chaos, stay steady. Your new start is going to be coming in January or whenever it comes, or after the busy season. But we're in this busy season and it's just just maintain the chaos. There's not really any hope. And some of you might already, your stomach might be turning at the thought of trying to add yet another thing, which it has to be acknowledged, right? If I'm going to sit here and say, okay, just on top of everything you're already doing, let's add a huge, audacious New Year's resolution kind of goal, which I'm not going to do, because again, the thing about the New Year's resolutions is that we start big and it fizzles out, because any successful change that you're going to create in your life will only come by starting small and going big. So my invitation to you is to do something that's a little rebellious, a little sneaky, a little kind of you guys can do your New Year's resolution thing. I'm going to try this other thing, and just sort of not even announce it to the world, because that's another thing with New Year's resolutions, is we tell everybody. And it's not that you can't tell someone, but what if you just said, I'm going to take 15 minutes and move the needle in the right direction. I'm going to take 2 hours a week and block that time out, or I'm going to stay up a little bit late and I'm going to move the needle in the right direction. I'm going to get up a little bit early and move the needle in the right direction. And then you can go back to the chaos. Like, we're not trying to put all the chaos on hold. We're just saying, how can we just kind of sneak in a few minutes here, a few minutes there to get that thing that is on your heart to do for Jesus moving, like where you're not doing that same old kind of just try to calm the chaos, and then hopefully the right stuff will just fall into place. Instead, it's how do you just take a few minutes here, a few minutes there, and get the right thing moving, which I know I'm saying on repeat, but it's a really important point, because it's not about doing this big thing. Again, New Year's resolutions, we start massive and then fizzle out. If you want something to succeed, start small. And when you're starting at a chaotic time in your life, which I'm going to share this story with you. So I actually started this YouTube channel when I was 8 months pregnant with our second baby, and which was a year ago at this very month. So I've done my YouTube channel for a year now, which is massive that I'm actually here still doing it. And I did not do the year perfectly. There are a lot of things, a lot of times where obviously, it's like any startup, anything that you're doing, it's not going to be perfect, but I'm doing it, which is what I want for you. But now, so I did it. I started it when I was 8 months pregnant, and I actually wanted to make all of the videos, like 52 videos in the month of November, just so, because I was so worried about how I would do that with a newborn. And thankfully I didn't, because there's a lot of learning that comes with each video that you make. But why was I saying that? Right, because I started at a time where it is like, if you, who would advise someone else to start a YouTube channel when they're about to have a baby? So they have a toddler and a baby. It's like nobody would do that. And yet there was something about it that is just like, well, yeah, but that's what I want to do. So it's like November is kind of, again, that's the time where it's chaotic. You keep your head down, you get through the holidays, and then you get that new start in January. But there was something about it that I was just like, there's no social pressures. Whatever, there's different kinds of social pressures, but there's not like a social pressure to do something big or make something happen. It's also when you have a baby that's like, nobody expects you to be accomplishing anything. So it was sort of like I could just do it on my own time, have fun with it, and whatever happens, happens. And yeah, okay. That's my story. Which again, brings up the question that what if instead of trying to start something big, like waiting for a certain day and then trying to muster up a bunch of energy and give it this big push and starting like way up here and then fizzling out like we all inevitably do. What if you said, how small, how small can it be? Or how small can my first steps be? Because you're just looking we just want something to stick. Which brings me to the next example that I want to talk about, which is two different parts or stories or verses that I can't look up because I'm recording on my phone, but I will work on this in the future. I know I've done this other times where I talk about something from the Bible and then I don't have the reference in front of me, but it comes to mind a lot, which is why it's easy for me to talk about, but I should really have the reference. But there's two, or it's probably a few different places, but whatever. Jesus talks about the kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman put into a lump of dough, and eventually, like as you work it in. I mean, if you've worked with bread or dough, you know that when you make dough and there's yeast in it, and you successfully, which isn't hard to do, but you successfully get that yeast throughout the lump of dough, then it spreads and it rises and it affects the whole thing. So you need a small amount of yeast to affect this whole like lump of dough. And in another place, he talks about the kingdom of heaven also being like a seed, or like the mustard seed, which I think a lot of us are probably familiar with, where when like you plant it and it's the smallest of all seeds. I don't really know what a mustard tree is. And I'm like, is that the right translation? Because in my mind, a mustard plant isn't that big, but it's probably a different kind of tree. Anywho, a mustard, so the mustard seed, where it's a really small seed, And then but when you successfully plant it, it grows into one of the largest trees. Again, I don't know if a mustard tree or seed is actually the right word, but you get the point. You successfully plant the seed and then it grows into something bigger. And again, this is the thing that bugs me about New Year's resolutions, is where we're starting massive. And I think when it comes to our kingdom work and we're trying to do something for God, right? It's not that we need to be seen, or like, we're not looking to be seen by the world. We're not looking to do this massive thing that gets, like, we want to be faithful to God. It's not about being praised by people. And that might be part of it, but that's not the thing that we're after, right? You've got this thing that you want to do and you want to be faithful with it. And it's been more of a struggle than sometimes you thought it was going to be. But when it comes to this, we really struggle with those small steps. Like, we struggle with, and I know that maybe I'm the only one, but I doubt it. But I know that in my life, I have really struggled with, when I actually go to do the next right thing when it comes to my kingdom work, sometimes it is so small, it seems so meaningless and so like left field that I'm like, it just feels like a waste of my time, and like, this isn't going to get me anywhere. And so then I struggle to do the things I need to do to create those building blocks for my work, which right now in the season looks like a YouTube channel. But for you, where you've got certain building blocks that they don't need to be big, they just need to happen. And sometimes it looks like calling the organization that you've been wanting to volunteer at for a really long time. Maybe it looks like maybe you feel called to visiting people who are in old folks' homes and don't have family. And it's like, that's a phone call away. That's just scheduling it in. And maybe it's that you're wanting to write a book, or you want to write music and you don't know where any of your stuff is. And so the first 5, 10, 15 minutes is you just need to go and like, just find it. You don't have to do anything with it. Just find it and put it in a place where it's easy to work with. Whatever it is for you, my invitation to you is to take these 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 weeks before 2026 to make a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and to sit down with Jesus and just be honest with him, and whatever's on your heart, which could be something like, Jesus, I've had this thing that no matter what happens in life, I keep coming back to, I keep wanting to do for you. And I've tried a million times, I've failed a million times. I do not know how to make this happen, but I still want to do it. And can you help me do it? And can we make this happen? And can we just like give this a new start? And sometimes that's really scary, because I know that, like, sometimes there's that need to almost like, sometimes, when you've started for the 10th time, it's just like, but what are the chances? It's like, I haven't been able to make it work the other 9 times. What are the chances of it working this time? Sorry. Sometimes when I look at the camera, I keep looking on that side, which is the wrong side. I don't know if you can notice that in my eyes. I just keep like looking there instead of there. But sometimes there's just a struggle where when we try again, it comes with just like all the failure gets piled on. And then every time you try again, then it's like, now I've got 10 times I failed, and then 11 times I failed. And there's a lot of that has to be let go. I think also because you're not just trying to give it this big, massive push where we have this like cultural excitement around creating change. When you're starting small, it's you're faithfully just taking that small step. You're faithfully making that phone call, or locating what you need to locate, or reaching out to the person you need to reach out to, or just sitting down and actually making a plan for, and you might spend these next 6 weeks knowing what you want to do in 2026, but you're going to take the 6 weeks and take 10 minutes a day to map out or create a plan and set yourself up so that you can successfully walk out 2026. Whatever it is, we want to we want to plant the seed. My hope for you is that whatever you do, that you are able to, it can be as small as it needs to be to fit in with all the chaos of the holidays and of whatever your 2025 tends to look like at the end of the year, or is going to look like. but it can be as small as it needs to be. We just want it to be successfully planted so that you have that momentum and you're not waiting for that New Year's resolution again, where we start massive and fizzle out, but we can start small and keep it going on into the new year. That's my hope for you. So, action steps. What you're going to do, you don't have to do, but what I'd love for you to do is take a piece of paper. I find you can throw the piece of paper away afterwards, but I find that there's something about getting, like, not just going through things mentally, which you can totally do. You're an adult, it's up to you. But there's something about writing things down, because then it's almost like you can only hold so much in your head. So when you write it down, it gives your brain a chance to be like, okay, that thought's there. Now I can go to that next step. And then once that thought is out, then you can go to the next step. And it just helps you kind of not have to carry everything, because then you can like see it out on paper, and then like you're not trying to keep your train of thought straight in your head, basically, because you can see it on paper. So what you're going to do is answer the question of, where do I want to be by December of 2026? So a year from now, what do you want to have had accomplished in 2026? Then underneath that, you're going to answer the question of, what do I need to do in the next 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, however, whenever you're watching this video, however many weeks are left until the new year, you're going to write down, what do I need to do in the next 6 weeks in order to accomplish or to move in that direction. So again, we're not looking for you to accomplish that big, massive thing in the next 6 weeks. We're just looking for a successful start, a successful, like, little bit of yeast added into a lump of dough. We're looking for that seed to be successfully planted, and you don't need a lot of effort. Again, massive lie that you need a ton of effort and energy at the start. You do not. Please, if there's one thing that you take away from this, it's that big goals do not need a lot of effort to start. You just need to be slow and strategic and patient with, what do I need to do? And again, that can be 15 minutes a day. So then once you answer that question of, what do I need to do, or what would I need to accomplish in the next 6 weeks? And while you're doing this, also, like, look at, what are you writing down? Because you might be the kind of person who you write down, okay, this is what I need to do. And if I could just do that, like, it's like, yes, this would totally get me started and help me take off and give me a successful 2026, whatever success looks like for you in relation to your kingdom work. So the thing that you want to do here, though, is also look at your calendar, look at your family life, look at the other things in your life, and make sure that they fit. Because sometimes what we do is we'll create this plan, and if you had all the time in the world, or you had all the energy in the world, or you had room and space of whatever that would look like, then that plan is great. But if it doesn't fit with your life, then you're inevitably going to have a lot of friction between what you're wanting to do and your life as it is. And if they don't, like, they should complement each other. There's always a way to make them complement and support and give life to each other. But if you don't, like, just, it's not that it has to take a lot of effort, but you got to seriously look at, okay, what is it that I'm wanting to add in? And is it too big? Is it too, like, am I saying I need to take 15 minutes every day, but every week, there's 2 days a week that I need to not take those 15 minutes. Hopefully I'm making sense here. But where maybe there's just something in your schedule that doesn't accommodate at all those 15 minutes. So instead of pushing that to make that happen, then pull that back a little bit and say, okay, the 15 minutes works 5 days a week. It doesn't work on these 2 days. So just wiggle it till it fits just right, so that you can actually successfully go through this. And there's so much that could be said about that, but I'm going to stop there, and we'll move to the last part of this, which is I'm just looking at my notes. So the last question is, what small action can you take right now? So, or not just right now, but so yes, today, what do you need today, tomorrow? What does that look like for you to make something small happen? And for some of you, again, it might be that you have really felt that like, God just puts different young women on your heart. And so you have someone on your mind right now that you know who you need to reach out to. And so it's not necessarily doing 15 minutes a day. Maybe it's just reaching out to that person and seeing what that turns into and just keeping that conversation with them going. Maybe it's, never mind, I don't have an it's like, maybe it's this situation, but I don't have one coming to mind. So we're just going to not go down that rabbit trail. Okay, before I wrap this up, because my 11-month-old just made a sound, so I think he's going to be waking up soon. I would love to hear from you. What is it that you, in the comments, what is it that you are wanting to do? What is that small thing? Was this helpful to you? Just kind of like, or do you still feel stuck? Like what is on your heart to share? Because I know sometimes it's one of those things that, again, you don't want to share with people, but just like, if this was helpful, then just say, it was helpful. But to end, I want to say that, like, again, this isn't about, I'm going to go back to that whole thing. We're not starting up here and then going downhill. And just because, I mean, if you think of it, a New Year's resolution, if you're depending on that, and if it works for you, then don't change it up. But if you are the kind of person who in any way, shape, or form starts with a New Year's resolution and then it just starts to fizzle out, then basically my advice is do anything besides a New Year's resolution, because it sets us up with all this hope. And then if it doesn't stick, then we feel like, I guess I'm just not cut out for this, which is not the case. Because anything, like I said before, anything that is successful or any successful change that you create in your life has to start small. You have to figure it out. You have to try something, and sometimes it works, and then you try something else, and then sometimes that doesn't work. And so then you have to go back to the drawing board and think about it a bit and try again. And that is how change works. It's not just a one and done. It's not about having the right time or the right goal or being like, sometimes we are like, well, I can do this when my kids grow up, or when the group starts doing something like this too, and then I can do this with other people. Like, you don't have to wait for that kind of stuff or for external things. There's always something that you can do to move the needle in the right direction to successfully plant that seed, add that piece of yeast or that bit of yeast to the dough. Anyway, now I'm getting distracted because the heat just turned on and I don't know how much. We'll wrap up here, but and then I'll know when I'm recording if that was a mistake to talk while the heat is on. And now that I've said that I'm going to keep talking, there's nothing else that I have to say. So, besides, let's end with, just as you're talking to God about this and you're putting your heart on the line to try again and come at it from a bit of a different angle, a little rebellious, a little sneaky, a little like, I'm going to do my own kind of thing. And just I never know how to set this up or how to say this properly, but I guess just as you're talking to God, what you're giving to Him is you're not trying to give all the time in the world, right? And you can totally just acknowledge that I don't have the time, but I do have these few minutes and they're all yours. Please show me how to use them well. Teach me how to do this. Teach me how to do the small things and let those small things be an act and a step of faith. As you're learning to trust Him, because it's, again, small leads to big, and because anything small that's successfully added or planted into your life is going to grow. So let's wrap up with what is the line that I always say? Great. Read your Bible, get lost in the story of God, and play your part. And I will talk to you soon.